Five times five says London City events. Ah, lovely jubbly. I had a lot of problems with signals. I'm having to use YouTube's live streaming service. How's the sound, guys? Is it there? I'm just gonna stick to you guys on the stand. Bear with me for a sec. Don't mind, guys, please smash the like button and share the stream. Let everyone know I'm live today in London for the Rejoin the EU protest.
I was only 14 when the referendum happened in 2016, so I'm here trying to get my generation's voices heard, get back in the EU.
None of them open.
Oh, if you can share the stream, guys, that would be much appreciated. Let everyone know around the world that I'm live. Don't forget to smash the like button, put one in the chat, and I'll give you a shout. Sky with the one, big up Sky. Hello, Victoria Willing. Uh, 50 plus. Hello and welcome back, Mayday. Had trouble with the signal, but we're back now.
Steve, what are we doing today? Well, today we're at the Labour conference here in Glasgow, and we talk to people, play some music. But what's very important is carrying the message in the European Union, something treasury, customs union, single market, which is where Peter Cole comes in.
And what are we doing Saturday the 28th?
Saturday 28th, we're back in London. Everything they look up, there's a march to Parliament Square for rejoining the European Union. Sunday will be
Can you still hear me, guys? Is it better now? Yeah, I just attached the microphone.
Broadcasting weekly on podcast platforms and Alexa, the UK's premier grassroots pro-European radio show. This is Single-Minded Rejoin. Hi there, Rejoiners, and welcome back to SMR. Coming up on this week's Pack Show, all the news, views, rant.
So we're gonna have some speeches now.
Microphone. Hello, Westminster. I'm Gareth Kearns, and I helped Steve with the solid protest, which is mostly on that traffic island over there, but it's all over Westminster. In fact, we were just up at the Liverpool Labour Party conference, protesting up there, and we're off to Birmingham to deal with the Tories in the morning. It's a busy life. Now, it's not just us two. There's a happy band of regulars who are here today, and also people who come to wave a placard where they can, when they can. And the point is, if there's a Prime Minister's questions, there's a pro-rejoining gauntlet for the Prime Minister's cavalcade to drive through. The default base is that traffic island over there, whenever there's a PMQs, which is every Wednesday, Parliament 6. Join us. If you're in London on one of those Wednesdays, come lend a hand, raise a placard, raise your voice. Now, we have been getting people coming up to us and telling us they've changed their mind for a few years. However, many of them ask two questions. But what can we do? And why should the EU have us back? Well, make no mistake, it won't be simple. However, it is eminently doable. It was only 27% of the population ever voted for Brexit. Polls have consistently shown for the last 2 years a majority for rejoining at about 60%, and it's slowly building. Indeed, it's 80% for the under 24-year-olds. The trajectory is clear. But why would the EU have us rejoin? The answer is this. There is no greater vindication of the European project than the return of the prodigal. There were various types in Europe talking about their nation leaving the EU. France, Italy, Poland, and others besides had significant lobbies of this sort some years ago. They had these lobbies. Our little spasm has made them go very cold on the idea. They've all rolled back from advocating actually leaving the EU. And that's what our rejoining the EU gives the EU. The example of leaving, which proves the ultimate sovereignty of the nation state, but then choosing to rejoin, because we discover the hard way that we're stronger in the EU. All of this nonsense of the last 10 years could thereby yet prove to be a great positive, not just for us, but for Europe. So thank you for coming today. Be seen, be heard. When you go home, talk with your neighbours, and maybe even come and join us at Sodom, waving placards and shouting at politicians. And cheer the prodigal as we make our way home.
welcome to National Rejoin March 3. Thank you so much
Don't
for being
forget
here with us today.
to smash the like button,
And
put
now,
one in the
please
chat,
welcome to the
and I'll give you a
Your
shout.
host, Liv Struss.
If you don't mind sharing the stream, letting everyone know that I'm live today in London for another protest.
Sorry, my fault, switched it off. Welcome to the National Rejoin March 3, everybody! Sorry, not good enough, I need to be louder than that. I want to hear you at the back as well, so then welcome to the National Rejoin March 3! Hey, there we go! Sometimes I just have to give you guys a little bit of a shake and wake you up. Was the walk not enough for you? If you are at the back, you can make your way forward onto the green. We do have plenty of space, so feel free to make your way a little further, not blocking the road. Okay? Right. We seem to have a lot of different flags here this evening. This afternoon even. What have we got? Wales! Give us a shout, Wales! We got scientists for EU, Sheffield for Europe, I've got Belgium down at the front, I've got Sweden, I've got, I can't see that flag there. You know what, we have actually got lots and lots of different people here, and it's fantastic to see a turnout like this on such a beautiful day. What a blessing, to be fair. It's nice not to have any rain, and it's quite warm. Right. I'm going to introduce our first speaker. It's our very lovely Reintke.
Thanks a lot, Lee. And thanks a lot to all of you for coming. My beautiful, beloved fellow Europeans. What a wonderful time this is to be in the beautiful European capital of London together. I'm so happy to be here again, and let me say first of all the most important message that I want to send today. Of course, the door remains open. We want you back. We miss you. We still love you, and we want the UK back in the European Union. But let me also say that we are not living in easy times, and not only here in the UK, but across Europe and across the globe. We are seeing that there are far-right, there are authoritarian movements and parties that are rising to power. And let me also send this very clear message today. A movement to rejoin the EU, a pro-European movement, is always an anti-fascist movement. We stand up together as Europeans against fascists, against people who are trying to take away democracy, rule of law, human rights. We are anti-fascists, we will resist to them. So let us stand up to fascism, to racism, and to all forms of oppression together. And I know that there are people in this crowd who think that things are moving too slowly. And let me tell you, I'm one of them. But the fact that a British Prime Minister next week goes to Brussels to negotiate closer relations with the EU, to me is an important step. And I have never been more optimistic in the last years about the fact that the UK and the EU will move closer together. And yes, it will probably not happen overnight, but we can work much closer together when it comes to foreign and security policy. We see that there is a dictator sitting in the east of Europe that is waging war against a democratic country. And as democracies, we have to work together to defend global democracy, to defend a rules-based world order. We don't know what is going to happen in the US in November. And that makes it even more important that the European Union and we as European citizens stay a strong voice globally for freedom, for democracy, and for human rights. But we also have to work much more closely together when it comes to tackling climate change. We see that the situation situation is deteriorating, and only together with the wind and the sun that is obviously also here across the UK and in London today, we can build a Europe of renewable energy, a green transition that will make all of us stronger, that will make all of us less dependent on dictators around the world. And also for this, I hope that there is going to be progress this week in Brussels, where we see the UK and the EU working together. And maybe it seems something small, but to me, especially being in this beautiful country where I had the chance of doing my Erasmus year, to me it would be one of the biggest and most significant steps. First of all, let the UK rejoin the Erasmus Plus program. It would be great for Europeans, for the people in the UK, for everyone. It's a win-win. It's so easy to do. Push the UK government. We will push from our side for the UK to rejoin Erasmus as soon as possible. And lastly, let me say, you know, sometimes in these last years, and I guess for you it has been the same, things look pretty grim. You know, it looked that everything was against us. But every time I come to these marches, every time I look into your faces, I know that at the end of the day, maybe it will take a while, but at the end of the day, we are going to win. You will rejoin the European Union and we will work together for a better Europe and for a better world. Thank you so much for coming. We still love you. I love you. You're fantastic. Keep going. We are all by your side.
Well done, Terry. Thank you very much. Right, I'm going to try and read some of your placards out through this afternoon, but I can't see you at the back, so if you want to shout out, move forward because I'm a little bit blind, okay? We've got to save our NHS. Big hand for that. Come on. Where's that 350 million we were promised? Down the clapper. Right, the next person that we need to go on is a Mr. Graham Hughes, who's fell asleep apparently. Would you like to come on? Round of applause, please, everybody. Nice and loud.
Hello, London! How you doing this sunny afternoon in London, in Parliament Square? Good to have you all with us. So today I'm going to start by talking a little bit about my biggest bugbear of Brexit. It is this American-style passport that has been foisted upon us. When I was travelling to every country in the world without flying 15 years ago, my British passport was the most powerful in the world. Not only could it get me into nearly 180 odd countries without a visa, it could also allow me to live, work, marry, fall in love, retire, build a house, start a business anywhere in the EU. That's been taken from me. That's been taken from nearly all of you. It's not been taken from Nigel Farage. He can afford it. He can afford the visa fees. He can afford to pay for the permits. He can afford to have £28,000 in his bank account to show that he means to survive in that country. We don't. He's not taking it from his children. His children have got German passports. Tommy Ten Names has got an Irish passport. They haven't taken their own freedoms away. They've just taken them from you and me. And this really does sum it up, because the last British passport before the words European Union was stripped from the cover was a beautiful work of art with pictures of architecture and art and culture from all over these British Isles. This new one, it's just a little rose on every page. It's blank, it's boring. I think it's made in Poland by a French company. Very emblematic of Brexit. But we look at Rejoin, well I look at Rejoin, as that shiny city on the hill. We're not there yet. We've got a long way to go. We're not naive. We know we've got a long way to go. But I was here at the end of January 2020, when those morons filled up this square, so glad that their gammon king had got his way, and taken their freedoms, their birthrights away from them. But every step we have taken since that day has been a step back towards our friends, our families, our colleagues and co-workers in the European Union. We're already back in Horizon. Hey! We're working for a youth mobility scheme. We're working towards regulatory alignment. We're working towards rejoining Erasmus. These are steps that we can really take. We can do this. The mutual recognition of qualifications. Eventually, we might be able to rejoin an outer orbit of the single market or the customs union. That's going to be negotiations going forward. But we are never, ever going to lose sight of what the goal is in all this. We don't know how long it's going to take, but one day, my friends, we will rejoin the EU. I will get my old passport back, and what a day that will be. Please join us on the journey. We will get there in the end. Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much. Right, guys, I need you guys just to kind of wake up a little bit. You're too quiet. We need bigger rounds of applause. We need our flags to be waved a little bit higher. We do have a lot of press around here that are taking pictures of the crowds, so let's show them that we mean business, okay? We're not going to take this lying down. We're going to be here every year until we rejoin the UK. So we've got to rejoin Erasmus. That's what we want. And kids need to do that. We've got to get proportional representation done. Come on, let's see that noise. Right, I'm going to introduce our next speaker. You all know her. She's very pretty. She is. Madeleina Kay.
Yeah, just take a minute to appreciate the wings, because they took a very long time and a lot of feathers. So thank you all for being here today. There's been a seismic shift in UK politics in the last year, and with the change in government, we don't just have the possibility for meaningful change for the future, we finally have hope. But unfortunately, we have seen very little meaningful change from this government with regards to their policies and attitudes towards the European Union, and that hope for a better and brighter future is being squandered. Post-Brexit, the EU offered the UK government an olive branch with the proposal for a youth mobility scheme that Keir Starmer has imitated Rishi Sunak in throwing that generosity back in the face of the EU. And for what? Youth mobility benefits us all. It provides valuable opportunities for young Brits and Europeans to gain work experience abroad, to live, love, laugh and learn in other countries. It's valuable to cultural diversity, it's beneficial to employers, to universities, to the wider economy, and it is popular with voters. The majority of British voters want to rejoin Erasmus+, and the UK government should be working to repair relationships and rebuild the bridges burnt by the Conservative government, not attempting to imitate them. And as an artist and musician, I don't just care about mobility for young people, but also for the UK's creative workers, because creativity thrives on cultural diversity and exchange. And young artists especially are dependent on opportunities to work abroad for their professional development. Curbing the freedom of movement of young artists is downgrading the UK's reputation as a producer of world-class talent. British musicians have been especially hard hit by the impacts of Brexit, with 59% now deeming touring to be financially unviable. And the UK music industry is one of our biggest exports. It is not just economically stupid to curb the mobility of our musicians. It's also tantamount to cultural suicide. Kowtowing to a minority of British voters with nationalistic and isolationist views. And it is in nobody's interest, and nobody voted for this. It was not on the ballot paper in the referendum. Hard Brexit was not on the ballot paper, yet we are kowtowing to that agenda. And it can only be described as weak leadership, and what the UK needs right now is not timidity, but bold, courageous and positive action. So join me in imploring Keir Starmer to see sense after 8 years of chaos and nonsense, to deliver youth mobility, to prioritise the creative industries, and to choose a better and brighter future so that we can once again be proud to call ourselves British.
Come on guys, need to be a bit louder than that. Yeah, let's have some appreciation. It's not easy to stand up here in front of you lot. Very hard to please. Keep waving those flags, everybody. Keep it going. Fantastic. Brilliant. That's what we want. Right. I'm supposed to kill time with 30 seconds, but I really can't see any of your flags down there because I am completely blind. And they're in a different language as well, which is really cool, by the way. Social media. Apparently I've got to put on social media. Hashtag March for Rejoin. Hashtag Rejoin March. There we go. Hashtag Rejoin March. You need to visit our website, National Rejoin March. Our Facebook page, National Rejoin March. Get involved. Spread the word. It takes a lot to make this happen and a lot of people to do it, but we do need you guys to help out, okay? Right, I'm going to introduce our next speaker, Sandy Martin.
As a Labour MP, I campaigned against Brexit alongside other
Labour MP.
MPs. We were determined to fight the destructive Leave agenda of Theresa May and Boris Johnson, and I see absolutely no reason to change my mind now. I'm here representing Another Europe is Possible, arising from that democratic socialist fight. We are committed to rejoining the European Union, and we need the Labour Party leadership to listen to us. Half measures won't do. You can't fix Brexit. We need to bin it. Colombia and Portugal are burning. Bangladesh and Central Europe and Nigeria are underwater. The planet faces a global climate catastrophe. Uyghurs in China, Muslims in India, the people of Darfur, Palestinians, Ukrainians, around the world, people are suffering from oppression and persecution and war. And there is nothing that we can do to solve these things on our own. There's nothing the UK government can do to solve these things on its own. The European Union
commands an enormous slice of world trade. It is big enough to exert real influence on the rest of the world. And if we were on board as a country, that influence would be all the greater. We don't just want to rejoin the EU as it stands. We want to be part of a Europe which uses its wealth and power to deal with global injustice and climate degradation. As a fully committed part of the EU, Britain would push for a safer, greener, fairer world. The financial cost of Brexit to the UK is enormous, of course it is. But the worst cost is the cost of Brexit to the whole planet. By washing our hands of Europe, we are effectively walking away from our international influence and our responsibilities. The world needs Europe to step up to the plate, and Europe needs the UK to step up to the plate. We need to convince the British people we want to rejoin, not just for what Europe can do for us, but for what we can do for Europe and for the rest of the world. Cakeism is nonsense. We all know that you can't have your cake and eat it. But far too many of us are still looking at the size of the slice of cake, when we should be looking to work with the baker. And our EU partners don't want us to join reluctantly, just for what we think we can get out of it. It's not about doing a deal. It's not about hacking the treaty. It's about committing ourselves to working together with other European countries to bring about sustainability and equality and peace for all of our peoples in Europe and for the whole world. Only when we know that we can take the majority of the British people with us on this mission can we rejoin without preconditions and help transform the EU into the force for good which we know it can be. There is no alternative. The future of our planet is at stake.
Thank you very much, Sandy Martin. That's better, everybody, nice and loud. We've got to make sure that everybody around us can hear as well. We do have a lot of tourists taking your pictures as well. Hashtag Rejoin March. Let's bring it on our social media and get it going. Right, the next speaker's very, very lovely lady. All the way from Spain, Sue Wilson.
Ones as well. When I first stood on this stage to protest against Brexit in 2017, I said I was a proud European citizen who one day hoped to be proud to be British once again. Well, I'm not there yet, but I am closer than I have been in years. Now we are finally rid of the toxic, tainted Tories. Since the election, our country is starting to feel like a different place, a better place. There are signs of hope. The government are talking to our European neighbours and friends and improving relations. Brexiters are shuffling off this mortal coil and being replaced by younger, more outward-looking voters who want the same opportunities and rights as their European counterparts. And the British public have stood up against far-right racism and thuggery and shown strong support for those being targeted. A level of support our government would do well to emulate. Immigration is not a dirty word. Immigration is not responsible for a lack of jobs, a lack of affordable homes, or a lack of opportunities. That's the legacy of 14 years of Tory failure. What immigration is responsible for is making this country multicultural society that is proud of its heritage. Immigration is the backbone that supports our NHS, our care sector, our hospitality industry, and so much more. And it works both ways, or rather it used to. Freedom of movement made it possible for us to live, love, work, study and retire all across Europe, until Brexit took away our rights and made us second-class citizens. It's thanks to freedom of movement that I am a proud immigrant living the dream of retirement in Spain, a dream now denied to so many. So, I have a message for our new government. I am grateful for what you have achieved in a relatively short space of time, for the abandonment of the inhumane Rwanda policy, for the swift and effective handling of the race riots, and for improving relations with our European neighbours. But you need to do more, much more, if growth is your goal. So, it's time. It's time to be brave. It's time to It's time to be brave and confront the realities of Brexit. It's time to promote the positive benefits of immigration. And it's time to drop your ridiculous red lines and admit that Brexit is never going to work. We were promised a reset. We were promised change. Well, we're ready, we're waiting, and we're not going anywhere. Thank you.
Hello, it's me, Liv Struss, your ex-Prime Minister of Greater Britain. And I'm here with a very important message. We import 2/3 of our cheese, and that is a disgrace. The EU stinks. Now, for years, I thought remaining would be a good thing. You know, for us, our allies, farming, fishing, Northern Ireland trade deals, the list is endless. Now, I never changed my mind, apart from tax cuts and the monarchy and my political party. I love Labour, I mean the Dem, Conservatives, Popcorns, oh I don't know. Anyway, look, what I'm about is growth, and we can only do that alone. Now, imagine England as a great big cheesy pie. I mean, that's Gouda. It's not actually, it's halloumi. Hello me! Now, obviously, if we give out a piece of that pie to each and every country, we only get left with a little tiny sliver, and we are hungry. Now, what I'm proposing is why don't we grow our own pie? We can keep our own bigger slices for ourselves and trade a few with a few important countries and people, you know, like Donald Trump, the USA, and China. I mean, my pork markets in Beijing are thriving since I did this. Now, we can then send out 4/3 of our cheese, our own Great Brighton apples, good old Yorkshire tea, English coffee, none of that Italian rubbish. Ugh. Actually, can I get some of that to coffee? Now, what I'm about is growth, growth, growth! We need to get away from the EU. Out, out, out! Who's with me? Out, out, out! What's that? What, this is a Remain event? Yes, of course I know that. Remain independent! Oh no, there's a man with the letters about to throw it at me. Don't do it! Not after last time. I've got to go. Goodbye! Which way do I go?
Brilliant, lovely. That was Liv Struss, everybody. Right, the next guy has the best hair. He really needs to sign up to L'Oreal because he really does have a mane that's as pretty as he is. So, let me introduce and the chair got mixed up then. Mike Galsworthy!
Hi everyone, hi London. What a beautiful European city you are. I might need that. And please give a big round of applause for Peter there, who put this together in just about 2 months. I thought he was mad. We just had a seismic general election. Don't we get 1 year of break? He's one of these never skip a leg day people. So march everyone, march. And we'll be back here year after year after year in this new parliament where you know things are going to happen. So let's talk about that general election that just happened. Not the new government, but the new parliament. Remember the people that have just been booted out. I have a few here. Jacob Rees-Mogg, Steve Baker, Miriam Cakes, Penny Morden, Johnny Murphy, Jonathan Gullis, both Davies, the David Davies and the Philip Davies, Michael Fabricant, Liam Fox, Daniel Kaczynski. I don't know how to pronounce his last name right, but I don't need to know anymore. And one that we should not forget as well, George Galloway. Now these are just the ones that were booted out, because before all these Brexiteers were booted out, there was a previous herd that left by their own volition. There was a whole herd of monocled, braying Brexit dinosaurs that willingly stampeded out of the House of Commons into the warm embrace of their own personal fiery meteor. And nominees for the most satisfying self-cancellation in the political environment are John Redwood, Michael Gove, Bill Cash, Nadine Zahawi, Kwasi Kwarteng. But after every extinction event, it is of course time for the replacement and the evolution of a new era. And we have coming into this parliament a whole swathe of younger, more diverse, more European candidates in these houses. So let's hear it for the 120 new Labour MPs that are already signed up as pro-Europeans. That's bigger than the ERG ever was. In fact, that's more MPs than the Conservative Party has now in Parliament. Let's hear it for the over 70 Lib Dems and the new Green MPs and Pride and the SNPs. And let's also hear it for those shy Tories. It's safe to come out now. You know the direction that you need to go in. Let's give them an encouraging cheer too, people. And together with them, from the grassroots and in Parliament, we will work together to tear down these walls. Tear down these walls for our youth. Let's have that youth mobility scheme. Tear down these walls for our young people and students with Erasmus+. Tear down these walls for our musicians, our performers, our dancers, our comedians, everyone that represents British culture that is currently boxed in. Tear down the walls for them. Tear down the walls for our pensioners who want to retire, for our businesses large and small. Tear all of that down. Get all of that freedom back. And at the same time as doing this for our economy, our identity, our culture and our future, I want us to do this for our sense of responsibility in the world. I am sick of irresponsible, selfish governments. Get that out of here. At the moment, we are looking at the threat of Donald Trump. In a world where you have monsters like Putin and Netanyahu who are out of control, it's a worrying place. And Europe has to be the rock. And we in the UK have to stand with Europe to be the rock. To guard, as Kerry was saying before, our freedoms, our democracy, our sense of hope and investment in each other, our humanity and human rights, here and everywhere. That is what we invest in. That is what we lend our shoulder to the wheel of. And so, if that mood moves you, then I have a movement for you. Who here is a member of European Movement UK? That's good, but not quite good enough, because we need more. This is the substrate on which we build going forward at the centre of our pro-EU ecosystem. So if you're a member, get more members. You're not a member, sign up, because now we're in new territory and now we build back to Rejoin. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Galsworthy people! Come on! Okay, so our next guest, unfortunately, cannot be with us due to unforeseen family circumstances, Gina Miller. But we want to know and let her know that our thoughts are with her and her family at this time. So can everybody just give us a round of applause, just so that she knows that she is dismissed. Thank you very much. Right, if you haven't seen our next speaker on social media, who shouldn't particularly be on stage right at this point in time, I don't really need to give you much more of an introduction than that, do I? Ready? Are you sorted? Everybody welcome Femi Oluwole!
So, I had a dream this summer. Unfortunately, it was kind of the exact opposite of the Martin Luther King dream. It was a dream that I was being physically dragged from my car because some people had judged me by the color of my skin. Unfortunately, that dream bled into reality. I woke up, I had my fist clenched, I was looking around the room because I thought it was real. Because there are people currently now sitting in Parliament, like Nigel Farage, who are trying to make that dream a reality for many millions of ethnic minority people around the country. So this stuff is real for me in a very visceral way. That's what Nigel Farage has done to us. And if Keir Starmer, if the Labour MPs in there don't drastically improve people's quality of life over the next few years in a way that they can feel, and he doesn't actually make the case that it is progressive values and progressive policies like we join the EU single market that is the reason why things are getting better, then come the next election, people will have lost faith in both the Labour Party and the Conservative Party, and then Nigel Farage will stroll into Downing Street over the crunching bones of the two previous parties. That is the reality. That's what's at stake here if we don't do absolutely everything in our power to address the cost of living crisis. And we know that Brexit is a major drag on our quality of life. All the experts have made that very, very clear to us. And this government knows that as well. They kind of wrote it into law. About a month ago, they passed a fiscal responsibility bill, which basically means that everything they do has to be judged by the Office for Budget Responsibility. So they can only do things that the OBR says we can afford. Well, the OBR also says that Brexit is costing our economy 4%, an equivalent of £100 billion a year, and 40 billion in tax revenue. So, according to their own laws, they have to do everything in their power to essentially undo Brexit. They've written that law themselves. And so, there is no logical argument for why Keir Starmer should not be saying it is the policy of this government to rejoin the EU single market as soon as possible. And because there's no democratic justification for being outside of the EU, of the single market. In 2016, they promised we'd stay in. In 2017 and 2019, the majority of votes went to parties that were saying we should stay in the single market. And if Keir Starmer said, let's join the single market in Parliament, who exactly can argue against him? Because the Conservative Party, they've admitted that Brexit is making us poorer. Kelly Badenoch said Brexit has been especially traumatic for the car industry. Rishi Sunak said it's the reason why we're lagging behind other countries in terms of trade. George Freeman said we're paying the price of Brexit in our food bills. When we look at the Reform Party, Nigel Farage said Brexit has failed and that we haven't benefited economically from it. Several Reform candidates who I interviewed before they threw me out of their conference, they told me that the Brexit is making us poorer now, and that if they were in power, they'd go for no deal, which would damage our food supply for the next 20 years. And they said that you've got to take a little pain for it to work. So who's left to go? Who are they trying to impress? The only people I can think of is that they're scared of what the Daily Mail and Nigel Farage would say. So, in my view, given that the stakes of this is so real, so visceral, we saw it on the streets with the riots, we cannot afford for them to go slowly. They might be able to afford to take it slowly with undoing Brexit, but the working class people in this country, ethnic minority people in this country, we cannot afford to wait. Thank you.
Thank you, Femi. Give him a big hand, everybody. If you saw how much hate this man gets on Twitter, you would be absolutely disgusted. Okay, we're going to plug our Twitter. You need to pop on over to our handle, Twitter, X, whatever it's called now. National Rejoin March. Hashtag March for Rejoin. Rejoin March. The boss is shaking his head at me, so I must be doing a really crap job. Sorry, everybody. Okay, right, the next speaker is Cecilia Yka.
Hello.
London, it is an honour to be here with you today. As President of Young European Movement, I am often asked by Eurosceptics, why should we rejoin the EU? And I love flipping that question on them. I always ask them, if we rejoin today, what Brexit benefits would you miss the most? And I've never got an answer. So humour me for a second, and let me wonder aloud with you. Do we think they mean the benefit of the Brexit red tape blocking our artists from going on tour? The benefit of trade restrictions suffocating our businesses? The benefit of the brain drain or rising unemployment? The benefit of the annual 40 billion hole in our economy? Or the benefits of the omnipresent cost of living, cost of energy, cost of housing, and now prison polycrisis seeping into our everyday lives? Funny that these benefits just don't seem to come up. I digress. The European project is built on three principles: democracy, equality, and the rule of law. And we are living in a time where all three of those are being threatened. International law is being shattered left, right, and centre. Democratic backsliding is rampant. Undermined as a nation, and that is a nation of cooperation, collaboration, and courage. We are not a divided kingdom, we are a united kingdom. We are the nation that chooses over fear, fairness over injustice, celebrates our diversity, not dehumanizes those different. So much progress. We have rejoined Copernicus. We have rejoined Horizon Europe. And our national political discourse has gone from a murder to Operation Reset. Every one of you did that, and that can and will go further. Even if there is a long way to go, we are closer than ever. So let's remember to celebrate the wins. Maya Angelou once said, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And she was right. We were safer in the EU. We were stronger in the EU. We were more prosperous, and more importantly, we are better collective stewards of our beautiful planet in the EU. We want our star back, and we will get it back. Make no mistake about it. Join me, join Yem, join friends of Yem, and help us reclaim that star for a future full of hope. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cecilia. Come on, you can hear that in the net. Hey, thanks very much. Oh, it's getting a bit nippy now. Are you all nice and warm out there in the sunshine? Yeah, it's freezing up here. Right, I'm going to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Richard Corate.
Hello. We got rid of the Tories, didn't we? But now it's time to get rid of Tory Euroscepticism. Over in that building there, in the House of Commons, over 80% of the members that are there now are people who in the referendum voted against Brexit. Over 80%. We've got to give them the courage of their own convictions. They're people who knew that Britain, the European Union, they must now act on that and move us back in the direction of joining. But we have a government that is cautious. Our job is to make it somewhat less cautious. After all, if Labour is going to achieve its own objectives, it cannot afford to continue with this caution. It said it wants Britain to be the fastest growing economy in the G7, rekindling economic growth. How can you do that if you keep the barriers to our main export market and our main supply chain market? You can't. If we stay out of the single market, if we're not aligned with single market rules, there will be regulatory checks at the border. If we stay out of the customs union, well then there are customs checks at the border. Obviously, customs checks, form filling, verification of rules of origin, red tape, bureaucracy, extra cost, shooting ourselves in the foot as an economy. That cannot go on if we are really going to rekindle economic growth. So that is one pressure on the government that won't go away. But there's another thing that won't go away. The constraint on the government, the fear that some parts of the public won't like us getting closer to the EU, let alone rejoining. There too they should be less fearful. Look at the tracker opinion polls that ask people every month, what do you think of Brexit? Was it a mistake? Over 60% say it was a mistake. Would you vote to rejoin? It's coming up to 60% now who would say they would vote to rejoin. The significant thing about those polls is not the level, it's the trend. It's a very slow but very steady trend.
Don't forget
to
smash the like button, guys.
You know, they go up and down every month with events. Not this one. It's slow, but it's relentless. Month on month, year on year. And as we get to nearly over 60% saying rejoin, as we see more and more people, perhaps people, including people who voted leave but weren't gung-ho Brexiteers, believe the arguments that were put before them and are now saying, hang on a minute,
This bears no resemblance to what was promised in the Brexit campaign. As that continues to grow, those numbers, then the government should be less fearful. There's no point in trying to appease a small and diminishing number of people who still think Brexit was a good idea if you risk alienating a larger and growing number of people who think it was a mistake. And there's one final thing that will push them in the right direction, and that is public pressure. The march today, the activities you all do in your groups across the country. Keep it up, it's vital. And can I finish by asking every single one of you to write 4 letters this week when you get home. A letter to your local MP. A letter to the Prime Minister. Why not? A letter to your local newspaper and a letter to a national newspaper. Keep up the pressure, week in, week out. Unless people are clamouring for something to be done about this, the pressure will fade away. So keep up your good work. You've made the efforts to come here today. You've helped Peter Core with his wonderful work in organising this march. Keep it up, keep going. We will win this argument. We have to for the future of Britain.
Thank you very much, Richard. Hey, somebody down here's got a placard with a Brexit benefit. Sewage in our water systems. Hey, I can't tell you just how fantastic it is to go to the beach and be able to swim in. So I'm going to introduce our next person, Liv Webster.
Wow, how amazing is this to be with you all rejoiners today. After 14 years of hard Tory Brexit hell, we actually did it. We together worked hard and we got the hard Brexit Tories out of there. For years now, us Remainers as we were, and there might be some Brexiteers here, I don't know, I mean ex-Brexiteers, and we have fought Brexit on Facebook, we have fought Brexit on Twitter, we have fought Brexit in the fields and on the streets, and we have been trying to persuade the Brexit believers that Brexit always meant that we'd be the first ever country to sanction ourselves. And guess what? We were right. Britain has sanctioned herself with a ludicrously damaging Brexit. We're the only country in the world to ever do this. Threatening our security, our food supplies, everything. But we have made one step in the right direction. We have got a government in power who might be open to listening to us. And we have been so right to do what we have done. We are the true patriots. We have fought for our country. We have put Britain first. And Britain can only thrive as an integral part of our continent. Europe is our continent, and we are part of it. Now, these Brexit fairy godmothers, you know who I'm talking about, fed feelings for hopes that Brexit would deliver a Cinderella dream of royalty. Now it's past midnight, guys, and there's a cold, hard return to reality. But unlike Cinderella, there's no bloody hope of a glass slipper for us lot. As the snake oil salesman, like Farage and Boris Johnson, they're the only ones who get to enjoy the Brexit riches and the palatial lifestyle of Brexit. And everyone else is left to adjust to decline and hard times. Because Brexit always meant that Britain would once again become the poor man of Europe. And I'm sad to say that is where we are right now. And everyone agrees, including that charlatan and shape-shifting, the word I can't say, Farage agrees that Brexit has failed. But our fabulous new Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, who was a Remainer, says he wants to make Brexit work, for goodness sake. We all know Brexit can't work, Keir Starmer. He's determined to keep us in Brexit hell, with vague hopes of a Brexit reset, but trapping himself behind Theresa May's ludicrous Brexit red lines. So, guys, I have to tell you this, our job is not done. There's so much more work to do, and we have to fight on, heeding the lesson that Churchill delivered to this country in 1941, when he said, never give in, never give in, never, 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 in nothing, great or small, large or petty, never give in, except to convictions of honour and good sense. Never yield to force. Never yield to the apparently overwhelming might of the enemy. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. And together, we will continue and we will rejoin the EU. Thank you.
We are in spirit, but by the time you see this, we're going to be in Ibiza, dancing around our handbags, doing big fish, little fish, because we're celebrating a certain Twitter vigilante's birthday. That's you, Marina.
It is indeed. And Gemma and I booked the trip way before the date of today's March. Otherwise, we definitely would have been there, because Brexit, and I'll despair of it, is what made us both become engaged in politics in the first place. And it still remains a topic that we feel pretty furious about. Neither self-harm, what? And even more significantly, there's still no clear desire from Labour to overturn it, despite how much we want.
Yeah, it's damaged the economy, it's taken away our freedoms, and it has hammered small businesses.
Yeah, I mean, it's divided us as a nation as well, and it has exacerbated the cost of living crisis.
But, come on, there is one tiny Brexit benefit, Marina.
I know it. Is it drinking wine in a pint glass?
No. Okay, I'll tell you what it is. It's our podcast! we think it's a Brexit benefit anyway. The Trawl. So we were brought together via our sort of despair at Brexit, but the Trawl was born. And every week we get behind a microphone even to trawl through what is going on. We take the mick, we despair together, we hopefully inform, we always have a laugh, and also it helps us know that we're not going completely mad.
So please do come and join us. We'd love to have you. And in the meantime, keep marching and with a bit of luck,
yeah, not holding our breath, but power to the people and all of that. And campaigning or anything like that. So, you know, I'll just let him wheeze it on stage. Steve Bray!
Steve Bray, guys.
Hello everyone. Great to be here. Different this year. You know why? 14 years of Tory hell. It's all over. We have Labour now. We were at the Labour conference last week. It's mixed messages, unfortunately. So we've got Labour members who wanted to talk to us. My own MP, Stephen Kinnock. I called him over twice. Didn't want to bother. We make a difference. So remember that campaign where you write to your MPs? You know, we are the pressure now. We need to hold government to account, no matter who the government is. I like to be positive about Labour. I mean, Keir Starmer, he did say we're not going to join the European Union in his lifetime. I would like to think he meant the deal that we had, because we're never going to get that deal back. But what we can do is get closer ties and get back in gradually. I've always said it'll come in steps, and those steps need to come like yesterday. It's, you know, I don't like talking finances that much, but I mean, when they talk about this £20 billion black hole that the Tories left us, what about that 40 billion every single year lost revenue from leaving the EU? They don't want to talk about it. See the funds in maroon, 100 billion in lost trade. That is jobs, that is businesses up and down the country suffering. You know, myself, I used to deal online, I would sell coins. I can't sell anything to Europe now because there's 20% VAT on top. I'm not competitive. So if the small man like me can't compete, how can our big business? Brexit. It has been an absolute disaster for this country. It has divided neighbours, friends, communities. It has even divided the countries of the United Kingdom. We deserve better. And now we have a new government. We need to hold them to account, and we need to keep the pressure on. We're going to be at the Tory conference tomorrow. I just don't tell anyone, but I'm going to start with the, do you remember Roy Orbison, Only the Lonely? They're going to be coming into that. So, yeah. Look, you know we're here at Parliament. Our traffic island over there, PMQs every Wednesday. Everybody is welcome. You know, Keir Starmer, the government, they drive past us every time we're there. And we got our banners out. The message is clear, you know. We're going softly at the moment. Don't tell Keir that though. We need to talk about Brexit. Nobody in key government positions wants to mention the B word. Exactly. Why? Because they're afraid. They're afraid that we want more than they can offer. But it's not a question of if we rejoin the European Union, it is a question of when. The best deal is with the EU. Thank you very much, everyone. Hopefully, we don't have to go on much longer.
Thank you very much, Steve. That's the man who the MPs keep telling to get a job. I don't know about you, but I think he's getting the job done. Yeah? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to introduce our next guest, Anthony Slaughter.
I'm gonna end the live stream soon. My battery does not seem to be charging properly.
And we're going to have to follow all those speakers. And I wish every one of you could see what I can see. The sea of flags and people.
Another few
this is what
speakers.
optimism looks like. This is what hope looks like. This is what a bleak and a better future looks like. And for all of us here, it's so heartening to see so many of you from so many different parts, especially Wales. Greetings from Wales, I forgot to that. But for every one of us here, we know there are 4, 5, 6 other people who would be here if they could. And that number is growing. So I think we should start a warm round of applause for all those supporting us who aren't here, and a warm round of applause for yourself for being here. Thank you, because we know what needs to be done. We know the work that lies ahead of us and the work that has been put in recent years. But it is a moment to pause. There is an opportunity, a chink. You know, the clowns have gone. The clowns have left the room. And it was so heartwarming to hear Mike roll off that list of names, forgetting just how toxic some of them have been. But they're gone. That after 14 years, that cruel, corrupt, incompetent Conservative administration is gone for a very, very long time, we hope. But we need more than just them to be gone. The new government is obviously to be welcomed after all of those years of turmoil and toxicity. But caution and complacency aren't enough for what we need to do. And warm words about a reset of our relations with Europe are to be welcomed, obviously, but they need to be translated into meaningful action. And we have already seen the first disappointment, the rejection of the Youth Mobility Scheme. So we need to be constructive, critical friends, because we know how many pro-EU MPs are in there now. We need to push Keir Starmer and his government to be braver and bolder and to move at pace, to not live in fear of the Daily Mail and the other hate mongers. Because we know, and the country knows now, it's growing. I travel across Wales, speaking to Welsh farmers. They know they've been sold a bad deal. They have been let down. Speaking to students, speaking the other day to a close friend and neighbour, the founder of the Erasmus Project, Howell Carey-Jones, and having to look at why can't we have Erasmus back? Such easy picking fruit, that needs to be back on the agenda. And I speak to small business owners, and we need to remember, we hear so much from that building over there about the importance of the economy. In Wales, it is small businesses are the backbone of the economy, and they have been let down. We need to fix this. We need swift and urgent action from the people in that building. And looking at the bigger picture, so there's the benefits. We know the damage. So many people have already eloquently explained today the damage that's been done to our economy by Brexit. But it's also the bigger picture. I've been so pleased to hear people referring to, starting with Terry, the rise of the far right, the worrying, troubling rise of the far right. And we need to stand firm because we want to rejoin the EU because we believe in a better future. So we need to call out fascism and racism for what it is when it tries to raise its head in our communities. We need to work with our European friends and neighbours to tackle that rising hatred. We need to build a better future. We need to be open and honest about the benefits immigration brings to our country. We need to be a welcoming country. We need to be loud and clear, despite the mongering, the hate mongering, the talk of small boats. We need to say loud and clear across our communities and across our countries. Refugees are welcome here. And then we have the bigger crises. The crisis of climate injustice, the growing inequality. Only working together with our neighbours can we tackle these. We cannot tackle them on our own. So this work, this campaign that we're all doing, that you're all doing, is vital. Don't let up. Everything you do, every march you go on, every letter you write, every social media post, every conversation with your neighbours, it is changing the conversation. Keep up the good work. We are going to win this because we must win this. Still.
That's it, guys. My battery is draining. Thank you for everybody for joining the stream. I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers, guys.
Last speaker, I've been asked to plug this book that we have down here.
Last speaker, I might as well keep rolling.
It's a 5 you can pay by cash or card. A stand is down here, and there's some other bits and bobs that you can purchase as well. Okay? Right, and then... my box, sorry.
Oh no, my battery's gonna die. Thank you all for joining the stream. Thank you to all the new subscribers that have subscribed to the channel. You'll be seeing more of me soon. So thank you everybody. Catch you again on the next one.
Greetings, you lovely, loyal Ramonas, and to you,